Hi you, and welcome back to another video from the Temple of Cornwall. My name is Rebecca and I'm the creatrix and mother priestess of the Temple of Cornwall, as well as being a sacred celebrant, an oracle and a published writer. And this video I'm really excited for. I'm sure I said that for all of them. I am excited for all of them. This video is all about the goddess Lilith. So for those of you who have ever been to a red tent of the temples, then you'll kind of know what's in store for this video. Oh, my spell bottle just fell off. Is that good? Ooh. All right, we can fix that later. Yes, you'll know what's in store here if you've ever been to a red tent. For this is, I'll be kind of talking about who Lilith is as a goddess, what she can help us with, how we can work with her. And at the end, I'll be sharing a really, I think it's a good piece, a really nice channeled piece by Lilith through me that helped me deal with leaving my abusive husband a couple of years ago now. And I've never shared it with anyone before publicly anyway. So I'll be sharing that with you here at the end. So do stay tuned for that. So Lilith, I'm sure you all have heard of Lilith. I would hope you've all heard of Lilith. Doesn't matter if you haven't though. So her origins are somewhat scruffy to find the start of, as with all ancient goddesses, that they come from various places, different cultures, cults, regions. It's all varying degrees. So what we now know as Lilith today is probably an amalgamation of at least two different aspects of the goddess. I would say two different places of her origin, but as with all these things, it's the same energy. It's just a different name, slightly different stories are told about them. That's all. So her, as far as my research can tell, and I presume the research of others as well, since I've used that research, they can only really find small origins of her in Mesopotamian culture, but more strongly she's found in Jewish folklore. She's, as far as I can tell, she's not mentioned in their sacred texts, but she is a folkloric figure within the Jewish religion and culture. So she was, if we go along the Jewish route there, the Jewish folklore, then that gives us more information. That's the most abundant with wisdom. So if you can hear my dog, Betty, you okay? She's in heat, so she's moping. You can hear her tail wagging there. Good girl. So yes, Lilith. So originally, obviously, God created, big God in the sky. He created Adam as the first man, and he then created Lilith first, and not Eve. Lilith. He created them both equally, both made them out of the, I think it was clay, out of the earth anyway. Both made them of equals. One was not higher or lower than the other. And Adam couldn't get his little man brain around this. He couldn't get his imagine being the first man, the ego trip that must have given him. But yes, he couldn't get over that Lilith was not there to serve him. And she was and is a wild woman. A woman who is fully in her power and will fiercely protect it. And anybody who tries to ruin that is not in for a good time. Not at all. So the story originally states that they'd been, fractured for a while, that they'd been having lovers' tiffs, if you like, but a bit wilder, a bit more violent probably. And Adam had tried to instigate intercourse with her, wanting her to be on the bottom. And she said, no, I am on top, and he did not like that at all. So they had a big falling out, quite big. Obviously all the energies that had been rising up between the two of them culminating in this moment. As it is with most relationships, you find it's the, on paper it'll be that small little thing that triggered a breakup, but it'd been coming for months with all the building of tension or lack of trust or whatever it might be. That's just an interesting little thing I've just thought there. Anyway, yes, so she had a big falling out with Adam and refused to bow down to him, refused to lie underneath him, refused to be of servitude to him, who was no better, no worse than her. Well, obviously worse than her now, but at the time, not worse than her. And God was also very peeved about this. Bear in mind, I'm not a storyteller. If you want to find like a really nice version of this story, look in other places. I say nice. It's a grim story, but better tellings of the story. And have a look on YouTube and see what else you can find, because I'm sure there's better ones than this. This is just the basic information for you. Yep, so God was very peeved at Lilith's behaviour and expelled her from the Garden of Eden. And again, this is where there's some overlapping in the different mythologies behind Lilith from whatever culture she originally, came from. They say that she was kicked out of Eden. Others say that she took herself out. She grew wings, she grew fur and feathers, and she flew out as well. She also shares, just talking about the fur and feathers, in that sense, and like the growing of wings and taking flight away from a place of trauma, is very similar to the Irish legend of Miss, M-I-S. Do let me know if I'm not pronouncing that right. I'm probably not. But Miss, very similar to her. So if you like Lilith, go and look up her as well. She's phenomenal. Kind of like another side of the coin to Lilith, another aspect of her as well. But yeah, so after Lilith, I like to think Lilith fled rather than getting kicked out. That sounds more like Lilith to me. That sounds like the goddess that I know and that I work with. And she was, from that point onwards, demonized. She was literally turned into a demon. The demonization of her included like the killing of newborn babies. She would fracture relationships and marriages. She would be the kind of energy that came in and ruined relationships and ended them. And she was always this grotesquely sexual figure when she was demonized. Obviously, patriarchal culture likes to do that. So she was her sexuality was demonized as well, mainly because she was didn't like to, I don't know how to phrase this on YouTube. Use your brain. She didn't like to servitude when it came to that in any way, shape or form. Yes. So, and that's kind of where she was left by the patriarchy, and in recent years she's been picked up by the spiritual community, goddess community, just using spiritual community as a whole there, the spiritual community as this goddess of wild empowerment, this mighty force to be reckoned with. She is the goddess of wild sexuality, wildness in women in general, and righteous feminine fury. She's that energy, that goddess we can call upon to help us if we are perhaps, activists for female rights. She's the goddess, or one of the goddesses we can call upon for that. She can help us find a voice. She can help us end relationships. I like to think that, when she was demonized for being the ending of all these marriages, that was actually freedom she was giving to these women and men. But mainly the women. She cares not for men too much. It was more of a, yes, it's painful to end, but how much better do you feel for it, to being out of your cage? You don't have to be tamed anymore. You don't have to be wrangled in by some man. You can just exist in your authenticity, in your voice, and in your power as you want. I love that. She really, I'll tell you a little bit about my personal experience with Lilith. So I had like a question pop into my head that I had half a conversation that I didn't let you in on. But yes, this is where we're going. See, classic Rebecca waffle coming your way. So looking back in hindsight, I can see that Lilith has been with me since birth. And again, this is where, her demonized version of, the snatcher of babes out of their cribs. I think this is where this comes from. I think she can, not to that extent by any means, she would never, has never. So if you can hear my dog again, do just bear with it. Betty, come here. What's up, lass? I know. Yes, newborn babes. That's where we were. So I think she has a way of seeing, newborn girls, whether they are born girls or will become girls or women. She sees them and sees their future and whether it may hold patriarchal turmoil, I think is the polite way to phrase that. But like troubles with men, and she kind of takes them under her wings, and quite literally her wings like expand around us. Those women who have those fractured relationships with men or have things done unto them by men. And she takes us under her wing and helps us to traverse that. She'll do all she can to not even stop it, because she's not the goddess for that. She knows that it will happen. You know, if you're taken under her wing, either has happened or will happen. It's more about using those experiences for power and for freedom. Instead of being a victim, we become a survivor. And through that survivorship, we earn like new gems on our crown. We earn different facets of freedom. And she helps us explore those. So yes, I can see that she's been with me since birth, even though I may not have realised that from the beginning. She's always with those little girls that are really outspoken. You would call them troublesome, but you should think of them more as know what they want. And there's nothing wrong with girls or women knowing that at all. So yes, those are stubborn little girls who stamp their foot and go, no, I know what I want to wear. I don't want to wear that. I want to wear this, or whatever your little girl might freak out about. Yeah, she's usually, those are Lilith's children. And I was certainly one of those. Very much knew what I wanted to do. I want to go stomp around in muddy puddles, mother. Thank you very much. I don't care. I'm wearing white. Tended to be, also, if you heard that, tended to be the thing in our household. But yes. And then it was only when I was really leaving my husband. So I'd been with him for about a decade. God. Yeah, I met him when I was 17. And it was one of those, I was in a bad place personally, not great. And he just came along and offered some sort of level of security and support. But I won't go into the ins of that relationship, but it was very abusive, full of gaslighting, nearly came to physical blows, which is when I left him. And yeah, not a pleasant man to be around. Very Adam, like, if you want to think back to the first one, very like, oh, you are a woman, you should be in the kitchen, and there's all that horrible misogynistic crap. But yes, bad man is all you need to know. And Lilith, he was really, once I'd left him and had filed for divorce, he was really fannying around, as men usually do with this kind of stuff. He was fanning around on purpose, not granting me the divorce. That makes sense, like not doing what he was meant to be doing when he should be doing it. And I was getting really angry and unsure of what to do, because at the time my belief was, if something's meant to be, then it will be easy. Very juvenile, I'm fully aware. And it obviously wasn't easy leaving him, even though, you know, I had no emotional attachments left on him. He obviously did to some extent for me. And I was really struggling to get rid of him, for him to break his end of the bond, if you like, for him to just move on and crack on with his life. And I'm really downplaying it here because it was very brutal and a lot. So I am sugarcoating it because this is YouTube. Yeah, I don't want some poor kid to stumble across this and be like, ooh, okay. So yes, I'm really heavily sugarcoating what that relationship was, but just bad man, bad vibes all around. And yeah, I can't remember the ins and outs, but there was something that he was really fanning around with that had really triggered me, I suppose is the best word. Really, yeah, really got to me. And it was just, I'd had it. I completely lost it in a safe space, you know, in a space where like it's safe to be angry. I'm not going to hurt anyone. I would anyway when you're angry, but you know, anger is sacred in itself anyway, but that's a different conversation. But yes, I had completely lost it. And during that rage, that righteous feminine fury that I was talking about, Lilith, I channeled Lilith for the first time, or first known time that I channeled her. I'm sure every time I've shouted at a man for being a perv, Lilith has come through. But yes, Lilith definitely came through in this circumstance, and she's been with me ever since. She's really helped me to help start to heal my throat chakra. So a little bit of backstory to that. I was a classically trained singer for a lot of my youth, and I'm a mezzo alto, so I'm very diaphragmatic. I'm very loud and bold when I sing, which is a good thing if you're gonna sing. But my husband never liked me even like singing in the kitchen to myself, let alone full on like operatic music and songs. And that was his biggest thing. He would always berate me for singing and using my voice. And even, me expressing like, you did this thing that upset me, can we talk about it? That would be a whole big argument. Like, why am I talking to him? Why am I even ignoring, like, a whole big thing. It says Lilith really comes through to me here in my solar plexus and my sacral chakra as well, really helping me to heal any like fragmented parts of me that are still lost in the outer ethers of my aura, from the trauma of that relationship. And she's with me ever since. She's never not around me, and it's amazing. And I'm sure those of you who work with Lilith, or rather she chooses you to work with her, it's phenomenal. Utterly changes your life. Complete empowerment, almost like that. Doesn't feel like that, but in hindsight you can look back and be like, oh god, that was so quick and that was so easy, considering how we hear about the path to empowerment being quite fraught with Lilith. It's so instant because you go through that path of sacred anger, but that is a different video, which I'm going to write down because I will forget. Hopefully next week we'll do a video on sacred anger. Notes made. So yes, that's my personal experience of Lilith. And so with this in mind, and taking the aspects of her from different cultures like Mesopotamian and Jewish folklore, she can really help us with the sexuality, the wildness, and really feeling safely into our righteous feminine fury and the sacred anger. And we can work with her in many different ways. Now, if you've watched any temple videos or taken part in any temple events, you'll know that I'm all about spirituality, especially personal spirituality, being accessible. There's times and places for big grand rituals, spells, or ceremonies. A lot of the time there is room for that, but to do that every day is unfeasible. And to put that pressure on somebody to be like, you can only work with Lilith if you do this 15 step-by-step guide every day that takes 2 hours of your time, it's not going to work. It's not feasible. You're not going to do it. You're going to feel bad, and I don't want to make you feel bad. I'm not about that. So yes, spirituality and the everyday personal spirituality has to be accessible for everyone. So with that in mind, these are seemingly quite simple things I'm going to suggest, but when you do them with intent, with the energy of Lilith behind you and with you, then you'll really start to feel the difference between doing these things every day and then doing them with the intent of working with Lilith. So you can simply call upon her. For those of you who, do ceremonies and rituals, you'll probably be familiar with the idea of calling in, whether it be elements or deities or just energies in general. And however you call in is perfect and right for you, but it doesn't even have to be a big moment. If you're in the middle of Asda doing the big weekly shop and some man's, I don't know, done something untoward, you can't, you could stop there and take the moment to be like, I call in the great goddess Lilith, which would be fine for you, but it's not always, like I said, accessible and feasible. So just calling her in your mind in those moments of, perhaps you're scared to walk alone at night, which is a very reasonable fear to have. Perhaps you're, something to do with your femininity being intruded on by men. And by femininity, I mean whatever that means to you, whether that's wearing pink frilly dresses or wearing fishnets and spiked stilettos, whatever works for you. That's the idea of femininity, I mean there. Yes, and there's moments where you're feeling like your femininity will be abused by men, or at least masculine energy, patriarchal energy. Then just call upon her in your mind, ask for her protection, ask for her wings to spread around you and envelop you, and almost act as like a shield of invisibility around you, for nothing can penetrate Lilith's wild and fearsome wings. You can also simply acknowledge her presence in those moments where you use your voice, or in those moments where you use your body, your sexuality. Acknowledge her, thank her for being with you in those moments and taking you as far as you've gotten, which is a lot further than you probably think. And you can obviously give her offerings as well. If you have a general altar area, then you can give her offerings of, I would say, a candle or spices. Or if you're out on the land and it's safe for you to do so, to have like a fire pit. She really loves a good fire. That really gets her, makes her tick. And you can also just use your voice and body with intention as well. So this could be dancing, it could be acts of pleasure, it could be singing. In my case, whenever I sing, I really think of the goddess Lilith and bring her through that way. So this is using both of those things, your voice and your body, with intent, even if it's something you would be doing anyway. Use the intent of Lilith there and just see how it really helps strengthen and fortitude your solar plexus, your empowerment center as well. And I know activism isn't for everybody, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be. But yes, those of you who are into feminist activism, really, before you go about your activist duties, really call her in again, whether in your head or full blown, priestess, ritualistic calling in, whichever way works for you. Call her in to be a part of your activism duties. And again, notice the difference. Notice how you might move differently, hold yourself differently. Your voice might have more power. Your body might, your posture might change, and that will, everything just changes around you. Your auric field will shift quite dramatically in a very positive way. So yes, I think we've had a good Becky waffle. Yeah, 20 minutes. That's a good level of a Becky waffle. So now I'll share the poetry with you. So it's on my laptop over here, so I'm having to look there. So this, like I said, was channeled at a time when my ex-husband was just being a bit of a bumhole, really. And it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but not really. But I'll just perform it for you, and hopefully you'll feel Lilith coming through for you as well. So this is just simply called Lilith. I will burn down your house in a blaze as fearsome as my fury. I will pluck your eyes from their sockets and watch them melt in the palm of my hand. For what good are your eyes if you do not see the woman who stands so brazenly before you? I will tear your tongue from its root and slap you with its truth. For what good is a toxic tongue if it has never spoken sweet words of love? I will turn your hard hands into soft sand. Let you watch them fly away on the winds of my change. For what good is touch if you have never yearned for intimacy? Your ears will flood with blood, just as you have made my blood boil over and out into these words. What use are your ears if you do not hear my voice as loud and as proud as every voice should be? You will rot away and be forgotten by all those you thought held you so dear. For I am Lilith, and I screech in the face of men, just like you. So when I arrive for you, with my talons ready to eviscerate, you best get to your knees and grovel for your sanity, just like you made her do. The end. So yes, a very powerful channeled piece by Lilith there. Yes, that was the kind of final push I needed to really stand my ground. And yeah, like I won't go into the ins and outs of divorce just because it's mainly boring. But yes, it really helped me stand my ground with that. I will have this poem posted somewhere, I'm sure. Ooh, I don't think on my laptop. It's Mercury retrograde. Why am I even filming? Why am I even going anywhere near tech? Oh, yes. Yeah, I will leave that in the description below, along with any of the links that I may have mentioned. I don't think I have, but it'll be there anyway. Yeah, so if you have any questions about Lilith, drop them in the comments below and I'll help answer them for you. But also, I want to know your experiences of Lilith. I want to know how does she come to you? What does she help you with? When did you first feel her presence, or when were you first aware of her presence? I'd love to know. So drop that in the comments as well. All right, my lovelies, I'm going to go fix my laptop, fix my spell bottle. Everything that's broken in the past 25 minutes, I'm going to go sort out now. So enjoy your day, my lovelies. Many blessings to you. Bye.